Now our next topic is going to be function overloading. What does function overloading means, and we're going to see after theory the code in the Visual Studio. So two functions can have same name, but if the numbers and type of argument passed is different, then only we call it as function overloading. This function having same name but different arguments are known as the functions are overloaded. For example, here the print function is there of 4 print functions written. Here no arguments is passed. Here only one argument or parameter is passed. Here one parameter is passed but have different type. This is of integer type, this is of double type. Here two parameters are there and are of different type. Like you can write this one parameter is here, one parameter is here, but it is of different type. So we call it this is a function overloading. Now we'll go to the compiler and we'll see that what does actually function overloading, how actually it works. I'll explain you detail there. So let's move to the VS Code. Now after coming to the VS Code, I'll be creating one file that is function overloading .cpp. In this we're going to write the sum function to add two numbers, and we'll see that one same name of the function we are writing again and again, but whatever the parameters we are passing, that is different. So our aim is to do function overloading. So for that, let's write the header file hash include iostream. After that, I'm going to using namespace std, and I'm going to write the main function that is of integer type int main, and I'll write this thing. So what we understand in function overloading is one same function name can be there, but its argument should be different, like different numbers of arguments, or type of the argument should be different. At the last, we'll see what is not also called as function overloading. Alright, for that I'll create a sum function, and that is of integer type. So in that I'll be passing two parameters, int a and int b. So this is one function. Now inside that I'll give definition as return. It's of integer type, so it is going to return something. That is what integer is going to return, a plus b. This integer it's going to return. Now one function I created. So here I'll create another function float. Suppose it's a float type and function name is same. And if I write float a comma float b, this is also a function overloading because same function name I am using. Compiler will not get confused. I'll tell you why. Because it's a float type, so we'll be passing arguments of float type. Here two parameters are here, two parameters are here, but compiler won't get confused because it's of different type. The parameters are of different type. Here what I'll be returning? Return a plus b. Alright, this is also done. Let's take another function. Let's take return is integer type. I'll give some enter here. Let's take integer type and write the function name as sum, and inside there we'll be passing three parameters. Suppose int a, int b, int c. So again compiler will not get confused that which part the argument should go. So I'll be return a plus b plus c. This is going to be returned. Now if I write in the main function, now I cannot write two parameters of different type. I cannot write this one int sum and I write two parameters, suppose int with different variable, let's say x comma int z. This time compiler will get confused with this function and this function, as it has two parameters of integer type. So here also integer type is there. It is independent of the variable you are taking, so you cannot write this one. Then compiler will get confused. Now in the main function, we'll be writing we'll passing the arguments and we'll calling that function. So here we'll change something. I'll directly write the cout statement, and inside this I'll call the function. Before that I'll say sum is, and here I'll directly call the function sum, and for let's say pass arguments for this. These are two integer types. So let's pass 10 comma 46. So this is what I am passing here, and I'll give endel statement here. Alright. So this, whenever I calling, this is what calling of function. This sum 10 comma, this is what calling of functions. Whenever I call, I can call inside the cout statement also. Whenever I call, it goes directly to here. It doesn't go here because this is out of two parameters taking. Here also two parameter giving, but two parameters are what? Are integer type. So the compiler will find, okay, we are giving these values to for this function only. Compiler won't get confused. So this is what? Function overloading. Alright, I'll write cout again, and if I want to pass, I'll write sum is, and if I want to pass the parameters, these arguments to this parameters float a float b, I have to write what? I'll call the function sum, and suppose 34.3, and I have to write f because it's a float type, and 7.2 f. Let's take some small value 3.3 and 7.2 f. Alright, now I'll use endel statement here again. Now it will automatically from 24 line, it will go to this function only because these two are of float type. So these two are taking floats. So it will directly go here. It will not go to this function int a, int b, because these are not integers, these are floats. F are for floating value. Alright. Now for the last one, cout, I'll be writing three parameters we are passing of integer type. So I'll be writing sum is, and I come out of it and write sum, and we'll be passing three parameters directly, 34 comma 78 comma 98 suppose. And if I write endel statement here, so it should directly go here. So this is what function overloading is. Compiler will not get confused, and we are writing same function name again and again, but with different types of the parameter. Here we can see different types of the parameter or different numbers of parameter we change. If we change here as float type and I write same thing, so it will again get confused. Like return type doesn't matter. Return type can be anything. But what matters is inside this round bracket, it type should be different and number of parameters should be different. For this three, type and parameters are different. Here two parameters are here, here two parameters are here. But compiler is not getting confused because it is of integer type, it's of float type. So that's why it will go to their particular place accordingly. I'll save the code, Control S, and I'll right click and run the code. And you see the different values is coming. Alright, now I'll show you that it will give error if I write something else. Let's return, integer type and give sum as a function, and here if I write int C comma int D comma int X. Suppose these three parameters I am passing and I am returning C plus D plus X. Now if I pass these things here, I write cout statement and I write sum is, and here if I write sum and pass some values 67, 45 and 97 and I give end else statement here, it will give error. It will give error. I'll save it. I'll run the code and show you why it will give error. Now these variables are different, but it has three parameters. So it will get confused between this function and this function because both are of integer type, and so it will confuse when I pass in 29 line, when I pass arguments here, it will get confused. It should go to this function or to this function. Now if I run this code, see what it is saying, that it is not taking int sum previously defined here. So for the function overloading, what is the two thing you have to consider, that either if both are same number of arguments are there, for this type should be different. You can write one int and one float, that is completely fine. So if I have to remove this one, I'll have to remove this one. For this I'll just do comment this code. Alright, I commented and I'll comment this one also. Now if I save it and I run the code, now it will give the result. So this is the distinguishment I want to show you. That's why I taken. Alright, thank you.
Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please do share with your friends and the colleague, and also do subscribe to Scholarhat YouTube channel and click the bell icon so that the information about such video you will get automatically.